Alright, what it do, y'all? It's me. I'm going to talk to you today about everything that's been going on in my life and what I'm going to do. So particularly, how can I put it? A lot of stuff has been going good for me, believe it or not, and not in the way that I expected stuff to go. Definitely some guys sponsored by a particular watch company I'm a fan of. They've been seeing my stuff. I'm definitely a fan of them. At least two of my favorite, people from like the watch company. They definitely seen my stuff. I don't necessarily focus on, gaming. This guy has his own gaming esports team. I thought that was very interesting. I haven't necessarily checked it out, and I followed his little page. It was random. I had no idea he even watched my stuff, but he did the other day. Bubba Watson. I took a good screenshot of that. But, how do I put it this way? If we're talking about watches and we're talking everything jewelry related and this, that, and the third, involving, luxury goods or items. Let's talk about that. The enterprise for these businesses or establishing themselves as legitimate businesses, in a traditional sense. Like if I'm out here and I'm Hermes or certain stuff like that, there's only a few retailers that obviously going to have Hermes. Either you're going to go to one of their flagship boutique stores, or you're going to go out to a Harrods. You're going to go out to one of these luxury fashion or garment districts or certain stuff in New York City. Everything about that. Like, a lot of people don't think I know what I'm talking about. I just come up here and ramble. Well, I'm not necessarily doing my due diligence, but I actually do come with concrete facts. And that's number one problem that I think I have a lot of times with people, traditional sense. You're dying to, get my input for something. But at the same time, I don't go and study all this type of stuff, but I know what I'm talking about. It's not, I don't really have to really pivot on my feet too hard or, this, that, and the third with that. Like, it's just not, it comes natural. It's not delusional by saying that it comes natural. And, for lack of better words, too, if we're talking about business and the landscape of business, luxury goods, I'm going to say there's a lot of stuff production is going to be halted. Like Louis Vuitton, for lack of better words, I don't think they're going to be able to produce all these bags that people are buying. And they're expensive. And I wouldn't say rightfully so. You're paying a luxury tax. Someone with leather, branding, markup, all this type of stuff. Overhead, protecting the building. This stuff sells out and people do resale value. Like, I know people on Supreme not that long ago. Realistically, if I'm talking about, business and dating, a lot of these women, they want these Hermes bags. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong, but that's not a thing that I would personally buy. Openly buy as a token of appreciation to my woman, which I don't have at this current moment. I don't think that's necessarily a realistic appreciation of love. And even still then, a lot of people are coming with the expectation of, oh, you're getting me this bag, or oh, you're getting me this, that, and the third, or oh, you're going and spending all this money, we're doing this stuff for likes, we're doing this stuff for, going on extravaganza, going on holiday. So now, I would say the standard of, glitz and glam, or just even gift giving, has become convoluted in a sense, traditionally speaking, because now we have social media and you have the flex of certain stuff like that. Your budget or whatever, a lot of people do budget giving. I feel like, if someone's married and they want to get someone a bag, that's cool, but people, there's been enough expense, in my honest opinion, where someone doesn't know whether or not they're getting a bag. the next thing I'd like to say, if we're talking about business and otherwise, and going in the landscape of how can we say engaging with the traditional, how can I say, luxury space. The idea of luxury is going to change over the period of time. A lot of places have halted production. A lot of places require payment. There's been a lot of price reduction in pieces or certain stuff, art, or even jewelry and watches or anything like that. A lot of people not buying. Anything I like about jewelry is one of the things you can easily get out of. Like, how can I put it this way? Like, you have gold. Granted, you can get robbed. You have to be careful about security and what you're putting out on the internet and everything about that. And intels, or a lot of stuff is just, how can I say, the emblem or symbol of wealth. Like, if I look at certain stuff, like, how can I put it this way? Like a Birkin and a Hermes, or, people used to think that Brahmin, was a good bag. I mean, it's still a good bag. Coaches is still a good bag. Chanel, or there's just so many ideas of what I would consider fashion. There's a difference between entry-level fashion, mid-level fashion, and fashion, because a lot of people want Michael Kors bags. Now, I'll be willing to say no one even talks about Michael Kors anymore, because, again, it's market and trends. I don't think Michael Kors is a fad. Everybody's still going to be on Louis Vuitton, too. I feel like people are trying to accessorize the glitz and the glam or certain stuff like that. Do I think certain stuff should cost as much as it do? The answer is no, not really. And I think the thing about, watches in traditional space, like I watch a lot of these watch guys, and these people that are going to prison, a lot of these guys, unfortunately, they do not realize of how bad, things have gotten for themselves in traditional sense. With, I would say the amplification of, raffles. You got this watch, or we don't even know the origin of this watch, where it comes from. Did someone partner on this deal? This is a crappy watch. You don't really own it. You have it on memo. You ripped off another jeweler. Someone loaned something to you on memo. It's basically a handshake. It's basically a contract. At a certain period of time, you can't get it, or this, that, you break even. It's like a handshake. And sometimes people get sued over stuff like that. And once that basically happens, once you have something on memo, it's only for a limited, allotted amount of time. Like, if you think about it, like, most jewelers, they have their best stuff in the safe. And, a lot of people categorize stuff as new old stock, or they just trying to get something out of their inventory for a brief period of time. And everything about that is strictly, how can I say, periodical. You might have a, how can I say, I know people call this Daytona like a Pikachu or something like that, and people are talking about $38,000. That watch is not worth no $38,000. Yes, it comes with stickers. Someone probably got into it. Probably, I'm going to say at least 23K, and the watch is probably going for 28. I would willing to let that watch go for 26.5. I'm not necessarily greedy about, watches and money. A profit is a profit at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, I'd rather have a new home or certain stuff like that than to sit up here and, be a part of the problem in traditional sense, and the enterprise of just really not even, how can I say, learning from the decline of sales. There's a lot of guys that I watch, people talk about sales experience. Stuff shouldn't matter. You can't even sell, like, Timex. You can't sell a Richard Mille or a Rolex. And I feel like there's some people saying it's very pointless and very baseless in what they're saying, because it's not really deeply rooted in reality. if I had to go out here and traditionally say, oh, this is what it is right here, you gotta do puffery. The worst thing I seen someone do here recently is sell some crap. I really saw someone sell some crap here recently. And all they did was put a vulcanized rubber strap on this watch that's $300 and literally charge $1,100 for just putting a rubber strap on there. That's crap. I'm gonna sure bring this to someone's attention about this. And this is a store, I wouldn't do business with them at all. Always on time, God. Another problem that I got in a traditional sense, especially we're talking about business and, the enterprise, or a lot of stuff is not, how can I say, elastic. It's very finite. It's not really bendable. You can't bend something and try to make it something else. Like, if you're talking about a gold piece, I would say estate jewelry is not necessarily something that someone could, y'all never feel comfortable allowing someone to do repair on the estate jewelry, or just like their great grandma's. It's been in the ring, like, in the family, this has been a ring passed down from like 3 generations or certain stuff like that. And you decide to go to someone that's not their expertise. It's just like, you don't go and pay somebody for the opinion, and it's like paying a lawyer for, like, someone who does constitutional law to handle something that's a civil and like mergers and acquisitions. It's just not their field of expertise. It's just not. I'm not saying they don't have a good consensus of what to do. I'm just saying it's not necessarily in the best interest of everybody. People should be able to point you in the right direction, or have somebody on council to help point people in the right direction. Everything about, traditional sense with business is going to be a very, how can I say, up and down space. Like, I watched a guy the other day, worked for this guy for around like 2 years, and he got laid off because a guy, I think he was bringing in a lot of money, like $300,000, but these guys wanted millions. And then I read something, I had access to read something one of these guys said. These guys were only getting $2,000 a month in like Philadelphia and $80 per watt sold. They were making $400,000 for the company. I'm not saying, anything is particularly, how can I say, that's not healthy. That's really exploiting people, and that, that's not cool. Stuff like that can make people angry, but I realize I'd rather part ways with somebody like that, because it's not healthy. Like, it's not even necessarily about the money at that point. You have me working these long hours, walking, and everything with these guys is just cost. And these guys are busting their butt. Like that, this black guy from Switzerland, Dave. And he's like 34 years old. He's like a big dude. And he basically got let go. He just had a stroke. And the guy had like $500,000 in sales in a month. And the guy was talking about, I don't think you're going as hard. We're going to have to let you go. They're trying to make it seem like he was pigeonholing this guy. And, and he was hot. He even fought the guy. I was rolling when I saw that. I don't really, condone the hate of certain stuff with people. But, you just got to move on from certain stuff. That's not healthy. And the dynamic of that is especially not fair and not healthy at all. Like, people think, you have no idea what's going on around you, the enterprise, or how can I say, a lot of stuff's not eclectic like people want you to think it is. or oh, we're living in a day and age where like all sales are final. Product is as is. A lot of people are doing take it and leave it with everything they have going on in terms of, relationship dynamic, just take it or leave it. And it's really not even worth engaging or dealing with these people. And then oftentimes, the endeavor of business is really as a customer or as a fan of something like that, or before, and you had no idea about the business dealings that these people are doing and the general sphere of the business and the enterprise and the equation that brings in, or the level of the element that brings in the dynamic really at the forefront, you would not be able to distinguish what actually is going on for the most part, because most people keep stuff under wraps. I mean, some stuff should be and some stuff shouldn't. Like if I have dwindling sales, but $400,000 to $500,000 in a month, it's not dwindling sales. Like, if you have a $400,000 watch or certain stuff like that, a one-off, or like, let's say Richard Mille World Timer Jean Toe. That watch is like orange, brown, and it's like it has a tourbillon on it. It's $410,000. I think the watch is cool. The circular case, I mean, I would say it's kind of a grower, honestly. It's not necessarily for the right type of, let's say, for the right type of person. I know people like Richard Mille's, how can I say, tonneau shaped case. I'm kind of a fan of the, how can I say, the RM like 28, the divers. It just depends on how much people are, used to wearing certain stuff. Like Rolex, they're pretty known for divers watch. Seiko's known for a divers watch. It's all on the price point. Even if someone says that watches are water resistant for 50 meters, or, this is a dive watch, you can bring that in the ocean. I would think, in my traditional sense, with everything that we have going on, it would not behoove people to, go out here and bring out, let's say $75, or if I'm going out here with a $75, I'll say, how can I put it this way, a vest and everything that we have going on. And, a proper, how can I say, preparation. Like, I saw this video of the guys that I watch, and this guy had like $1 million Richard Mille, and his daughter went in the pool, and the crown was not basically all the way screwed in. These people, the level of expertise these people had was very minimal. They couldn't do that much, and that person's not really a watchmaker. So at that point, if it's a one-off watch, I would think that people would avoid the warranty based off of neglect and use of what they just did. I wouldn't take that out in no type of swimming pool scenario and be wearing that, even though the stuff is. It's just not smart. Another problem that I have, particularly with, everything that we have going on in the business world, is instead of people actually saying that they don't have the capabilities or the functions to do business in traditional sense, oftentimes that they don't, and say no, they're still going to keep on going and saying that, we deal with this type of stuff, or you're not even qualified to even handle that. Like, I follow a guy, he's really talented, named Alt Chrono. He's been working on Richard Mille's, taking the parts apart and then servicing the cases and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure he went to some type of watchmaking school. And he definitely looks at the quality of work that other people are doing. They're not even qualified to even handle these watches. They're using false parts. The stuff doesn't wind the way it needs to wind. The case, how can I say, the power reserve is not necessarily working as good as it needs to be. The movement of it is pretty much done. There's a clutchable rotor. The main spring, the balance spring, and everything is off. The whole dynamic is really off. And every time we think about business or sunk costs, I'm dead. Now, too, my main problem, especially if we're talking about business and otherwise, is really how, we normally go in a particular sense of there's only a handful of, how can I say, channels that you can go through. Like if you buy how can I say, if you buy a car, you have a warranty. You have some sense of what can I get, what can I do. Everything about it is not necessarily in the pretty much in the drain. Like I'm not having to keep on. Well, with a car, you still do have to keep on spending money. Stuff breaks down. Cars need to be serviced. Watches need to be serviced to a certain extent. I would say it depends. Like a watch and certain stuff like that can buy people a house. Like a watch can buy someone a house. Like, that's a high income skill. That's their way to express your personality. That's a way to like breathe life and, explore like creativity with styling. How can I say, grooming to a certain extent. Because a lot of stuff it is personality. Like, there's not too many people that are going to go out here and wear like a GMT Master. There's just not that many people. I wouldn't wear no GMT Master. I don't like the look. I don't like the case size. And also, too, I just think that for the most part, if we're talking about these watches in a traditional sense, in their heyday, people paying $47,000 for, a stainless steel model of a Rolex. I'm not a fan of that. Or it went up that high. That's not cool. And then too, I know people are saying that, again, I watch a lot of people. When I mean a lot of people, I watch a lot of people. Like the enterprise of Patek Philippe, they raised their prices between 15 and 20%. And a lot of people don't think I really watch or keep up with the market. Not just be talking. I keep up with the market every day. Like Patek Philippe, they definitely canceled the 5980. It's discontinued. So price is about to skyrocket. It was at 170 the other day, and now I think it's going like to 230. So it's gone up to $60,000. And realistically, I'm not one of those people who would even keep up with those type of watches. In a traditional sense, I would never sell. Like if I had a decent watch like it's worth millions of dollars, it's just a watch to me. And that's what I want to do. I want to work on watches. Because at the end of the day, you're able to buy a house, you're able to take care of yourself, you're able to do all this type of stuff. And a lot of stuff that I really don't like about, the business world or certain stuff like that, and it's the racism that comes into play with a lot of these jobs and stuff like that. It's that, people have qualifications, and then basically because of people's skin color or education or certain stuff like that, they're not necessarily able to get opportunity, especially when they know this stuff and they're up to date, and question the validity of the institution. Even if you went to the same institution as certain people, and act like what they're doing is so supreme or so superior with everything we have going on. That's not cool. The thing about it, I would never take people's clients or the clientele. I don't like stuff that people like. I really don't. I really don't. Like, I really don't. Like, for the most part, what I think is the most healthiest thing to do on a, like, if I had my ideal diet, my ideal money situation, my ideal place to live, I would definitely run a lot. Run a lot. Still go to therapy, which, I'm still going to therapy. I would still focus on engaging with a certain type of, how can I say, with a certain type of, community that's, accepting, reaffirming, it's definitely helping people. The watch community is kind of like that to a certain extent. I don't think, necessarily the money aspect. I feel like people can make a great watch selection matching within a budget. But budgets, in my opinion, they're not necessarily, how to say, they don't make or break a watch selection, in my opinion. It just depends. Because, like, someone spent, $600,000 or $800,000 on a 5976 Paddock or whatnot, and they had no idea that it comes in a cardboard box. When it comes from the factory, it comes in a cardboard box. It doesn't come in a that little box, wooden box. If it comes straight from the factory, I don't know if they necessarily move that. When you get a brand new Paddock, it's coming in a cardboard box. Everything about, traditional sense with, like, businesses, the enterprise and the dynamic is going to change. Some stuff is going to move forward and some stuff is going to move backwards. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, boy. Another thing I'm still thinking about in a non-traditional sense is like how businesses and everything about it are going to have to change the way that they do certain things, like to make sure it's not considered anti-consumer. Because Rolex got fined $100 million for reducing people's ability to basically authenticate their watches or whatnot. And a lot of people have I really keep up with watches every day. So it's not like people say I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's false. A lot of people are going and saying new style card. It comes with a, what's it called? A QR code. You scan it. And then you have all these different things going on with Rolex right now. It's like, some of these watches, like the 116500 LN, that was like, 32,000, 500 at some point. And people are going to try and charge like 37,995. I don't think that watch is worth that. They have a new one, the 126500 LN. LN just refers to black. Lunette Noir. That's exactly what it stands for. A lot of people I don't have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's not necessarily my problem. As long as I'm not, going and abusing people or saying anything like that, anything off the wall, I feel like, that's fine. thing I'm still thinking about on a non-traditional sense is how bad watches and stuff have become. Like if we're going to talk about like a non-traditional agreement, like I know a lot of people, well, ADs are starting to say that Patek's and certain stuff were like made cheap, like the buckle, the clasp. Oh, this feels like $100,000 watch, and it feels like you can break the clasp or certain stuff is flimsy. Or like the butterfly, that's what they call. Like the butterfly clasp with how can I put it this way? With these watches, Epic Jordan doesn't mix the butterfly clasp. I like his bracelet style is okay. The one brand I really would say that definitely knows their clientele and they have not faltered on quality, and I like their level of ingenuity is what you call it, Vacheron. Vacheron is pretty good. Like you can change the bracelet out pretty seamless, and that's particularly the stuff that I'm necessarily going for. Like if I'm going and buying a watch, and I'm buying a particularly expensive piece, I should have a better deployment buckle system, a better thing. Like no one should be able to snatch a watch right off my wrist. It's better to, give, something up in a traditional sense than to lose your life at the expense of your life for a particular watch. Like a lot of the guys from RM, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, hopefully I'm saying it correctly, Charles Leclerc, he definitely got robbed in Italy. Rafa Nadal had got robbed of his RM27. It was one of them. One is like $900,000 tourbillon. What you call it? How can I put it this way? Tourbillon can withstand 10,000 G's. His watch, his one-on-one watch or whatnot got stolen, and then the insurance, he put it in his actual locker, and it got stolen. Like 3 of his watches have gotten stolen. Like a guy saw him watch, not necessarily watch, they knew they was in town at this hotel. He put his watch down in his room or whatnot, and the guy who was serving him at the actual restaurant went into the thing. You can search that up. It's not delusional. He went in there and stole the guy's watch. Stole Rafa Nadal's watch and got charged for it. But he went in there and extra steps, got the key, and went and stole the watch. They were able to basically reclaim the watch. But I would think, if people have a contract and they're sponsored by the watch thing, I would say, should they be able to wear the watches? Yes. But should they not be how can I put it this way? You have to be a little bit smart. You have to wear stuff under a cuff. And then, two, what type of environment is this giving? A wealthy environment is still not safe for everybody. Like, if you think about on average, the average person isn't going to be able to spend, $300, $400, $500, $600,000 on a watch, and it's a one-off. And a lot of the stuff winds up going to, Hong Kong, stolen. No box, no papers, no nothing. You can find this stuff or a serial number. Like, there was a guy in, Paris who went out there and smoked a cigarette. And, how can I put it this way? A guy went up to him and snatched the thing, snatched his Richard Mille diamond twister right off his wrist. That was a little bit strange, in my opinion. Why a guy would be taking a smoke in the environment he was, and not far from hotel, but the fact he allowed someone to invade his personal space, um, and be able to do that and subdue him like that is absolutely insanity in its finest thing, in its finest form. And I know another guy that I watched, his name like Waco. And because I normally watch these guys a lot, I'm able to learn a lot about watches. I think before I go to sleep, I want to watch some watches TV and all this stuff and principles about certain stuff, about watches, collecting, everything about it. Like, particularly speaking, I think the engagement with the watch community is pretty high. I definitely think the environmental safety component is definitely much needed. And what what you're saying, what you're posting, what you're out here letting out. Like if you're at a watch convention and you live in a high crime city or whatnot, like I watch this game, I watch this guy. He goes to all these games, he goes to all this stuff. I think his name is like Watt something. And he was in London. He had a safe. He basically streams in his room, and people broke into his house or whatnot, and they stole his watches. No one was home. No one got hurt. But London is not exactly the safest place in the world to ever be wearing a watch at all. And two, do I think the economy has gotten bad? Yeah, but I honestly think in a traditional sense, a lot of these jobs and these hours he want people to work is ridiculous. Honestly, the service industry is terrible. There's no career there. I think a lot of stuff people do is at the expense of other people's mental health. And how can I put it this way? Everything they have going on. Because if you think about on average the person that's going out here working or slaving, let's say from 10 to 6, and then, you have to be right back at 11 to work another job. And from like 11 to like, let's say 11 to like 4:30, they're probably getting 5 hours of sleep. That's no money. A lot of stuff is easier said than done. But for the most part, everything that we have going particularly is really a personification of what's going on in the actual world. I don't think a lot of stuff has to do with necessarily education. Because think about it, the people at the highest level of certain stuff like that, I don't think they have a good idea of what it's like to be on the floor. Like, I kind of get tired of the news and the media and the cycle going on or saying that, oh, we had this shortage of people don't want to work. You laid off 12,000 people. UPS. You're trying to do cost-saving measures. The price of stuff is rising. The quality and the service isn't the same. You don't have people with the capabilities or the capacity to do certain things. You just don't. A lot of stuff is being lost in translation oftentimes due to a perceived or a pre-notion of just guess what? We're just doing business. This is how it is. We're talking about real dollars. We're going to offer some type of UPS, Express. We're going to go out here. We're going to conjure up some type of concoct a new plan. We're going to offer Express, we're going to do all this type of stuff. Or, they'll start people at $20 an hour. I feel like that's good, but again, it's not necessarily about, what it is. It's about what's taking your time and what's taking your energy or certain stuff like that. And then, too, that stuff is not necessarily good when you think about bills. That stuff is not good when you say about bills. Number one, I see a lot of stuff is problematic. A watch, people don't necessarily need a watch, but I feel like, it's easy, it's art, it's promoting artistry. Not too many people can do it. Not too many people can tell you about a watch, a story of watches, why Switzerland makes watches, all these different things that's going on. Like how John Calvin basically told jewelers back then to stop making gold jewelry and start making watches. They had to find a new way, and that's why they start making watches. That's the history of it. And Switzerland's been making watches since I think the late 1500s, 1600, and Patek is like the only place that still has watches from 1600 to to now. They're still in perfect and pristine condition. Patek's been around for a long time. So, realistically speaking, if we're talking about, all this different stuff, quality control, economies of scale, a lot of people's argument with all this type of stuff is very weak. It's very one-sided. And it's nonsensical to even, how can I say, canonize all this type of stuff. We talk about origins. We talk about beginnings. We talk about all this type of stuff. Like a particular line that people come out with. And there's nothing special about this stuff. We cannot, even begin to imagine what's going to be the next, how can I put it, the next grift, in my opinion. Because a lot of stuff is a game or a gimmick. You're already spending a boatload of money on various different things, warranties, servicing, like an RM, for a tourbillon, a service on a Richard Mille is $6,000. And it has to be at one of the boutiques. Get it to a boutique so you can send it to the factory. My sister said watches are really for the 1%. I would agree if people with discretionary income, but that's something you want to do. You should go and pursue it. My only problem becomes when, there's not necessarily the knowledge or the field of expertise that people are doing out here. How can I put it? The buckle, the case, the millimeter, and everything about it. Some of the, let's say, circular designs of Richard Mille are 47 millimeters. There's not necessarily that many people out here that can wear a 47 millimeter watch. The thing I like about, certain stuff, at least with Richard Mille in the traditional sense, is that you don't necessarily need one of those. You don't have to take links out. The thing about they have different size straps for people. If, how can I say it, the RM67, they have a small, medium, and large. Most wrist circumference is probably 7.5. I don't necessarily know my wrist circumference. I don't think it's a 7. A 36 mil watch is considered a lady's watch now. And for the most part, everything that we have with that is particularly, how can I say, very, very, how can I say, everybody's gone to a 36 mil, traditional, but consider that ladies. The more aesthetically pleasing thing people go on to say is AP, 41 mil, all these different things. And for me personally, I think that AP or anybody particularly, I would say integrated bracelet system, a deployed class, all these different buckles, all the different stuff. Telling people the functionality of what they're paying for. How can I put it this way? They had a Rolex. Let me give you a backstory. There was this particular Rolex, the Sky Dweller. I think it was a meteorite, and it had diamonds and stuff all on it. My main problem becomes when people are spending, upwards to, how can I say, $1 million, and you have a bracelet made of diamonds and all this type of stuff, or you have a link of it and it breaks, or people sell something. Wow. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely ridiculous. Item, what is this, rap? I think I did pretty good, but I'll probably play a few more, and I'm going to probably watch some watch videos and then go to sleep. Particularly speaking, if we're talking about watches and enterprise, certain stuff like that, and the dynamic of things, how can I watch it? Well, let me say this. I know people say over, under, their sales targets and certain stuff like that. The market on certain stuff does not exist. Like, oftentimes someone went and basically said, oh, they got an enamel dial watch or something like that. From a particular, like, people talk about people in their heyday, like Daniel Ross. Daniel Ross had like what? He had one of those crazy tourbillons. I would say he has a 26-day power reserve or something like that. Something almost insane. What power reserve is basically is how long the watch can basically wind without it's basically like a watch's gas tank. You have to basically wind a watch each day. Basically, you do that. You basically turn the crown clockwise. And you basically do that 20 to 40 times. That basically is giving the watch gas. Ideally, somebody would want to wind their watches every day, so that makes sure they're running smoothly. I feel like the only thing too, if we're talking about watches and a particular enterprise of watches and everything that we have about it, is in a traditional sense, we're basically saying, how do I say, most watches are going to be around, how can I say, some watches are not going to be around for a lifetime. And what I mean by that is strictly, if I get a watch from an independent brand and something ceases to exist, someone was making fun of all these different watch brands that kind of been out here and they're going away. To have watch in the 90s, those independent was what you call it? How can I put it this way? Alan Silverstein. Alan Silverstein was out here making watches, little colorful, playful watches that people were paying $50,000 for it. And for lack of better words, those watches I feel like they're collectible items. I would never buy it because it looks terrible. I just don't believe in lying. It's not for me and it looks terrible. I think it could be a work of art and that could be deciphered from either you or me and our, definitely taste. It's really dependent upon one or two things. One is about price and one is about accessibility. And to me, logically in my mind, what I think about something, if you're going to pay $50,000 for it, are you going to be able to get 85% of your money back? And, honestly speaking, if you can't get 85% of your money back, I would say, or there's not necessarily an easy market to kind of go back and reclaim it, and you're going to lose some money on top of it. It's not exactly a great idea for most people to go out there and buy certain stuff. Like, let's say, for instance, a guy, and what you call it, I think he was in, he had a thing with Christie's. And he basically, how do I put it this way? He basically did not 100% like have a great agreement with Christie's, and he had like $43 million worth of rare watches. Like, he had Marlon Brando's Submariner. He bought that in an auction. He made some money on that, and now he's still in the auction house for breach of contract or something like that, because there were some shady type of dealings with his watches. Everything about watches in particular is not necessarily that much of a great type of thing. So, realistically speaking, while we're talking about, auction houses and certain stuff like that, there's some watches that's just not going to sell well. Like, I don't know if anybody, Rolex is pretty much the king when it comes to watches, in terms of it's always going to be able to sell. Someone asked me, do I think Richard Mille is able to sell? I think Richard Mille is able to sell, but it's not going to be able to 100% go to auction houses. Like, Richard Mille's personal watch went to auction not that long ago. He basically gave up his watch or sold some of his personal items, like this RM1 that he basically wore at Basel World. He sculpted the thing on, gave you the story. He sculpted the watch on the back of a sculpted on the back of some soap, like the movement. Drew it down on a piece of paper, and went from there, followed by the RM2 and RM3. RM2 is still a tourbillon. I think the difference is the case size, and RM3 has like a split-second chronograph, something like that. I could be wrong in everything about it, but for the most part, everything realistically with the watch market and the potential for anything but how can I say, the expense of the watch itself. And if you have, I think Richard Mille infamously said that he only 75% of his actual watch components he doesn't use, he throws it out because he has a high quality control stuff. Switzerland's a high cost of living place. And then two, profitability, and keep lights working, pay their employees or watchmakers, and pay for marketing. I don't think Richard Mille has to do that much marketing, honestly, because he has a product, and then each year the demand, how can I say, exceeds or super exceeds the supply of all the watches to have in the world. There's only going to be 5,000 watches or less. I want to say, realistically speaking, I'm going to say Richard Mille only puts out 3,800 watches. Because from what I didn't see, realistically, a lot of places have decreased production by like 15 to 20%. Or they're either increase their price, or they're focusing on increasing production or making a new factory. And a lot of these watchmakers and certain stuff out there, like these master watchmakers for these grand complication stuff, is dying. And there's nobody out there that's really doing that. Because in order for them people to be considered like, watchmakers or a master watchmaker, they have to put these grand complications or petite sonneries or grand sonneries uh, together or away for 15 times. What it do? Next, when I think about watches and everything about too, case size, certain stuff, I don't even think that the authorized dealers have any idea of where the stuff is going to be allocated. Like in certain markets, Japan, Richard Mille only goes for certain watches in Japan. Like they have Japan edition. They have Japan edition, Bubba Watson. They have different editions or they create certain watches for a certain market. Because Japan, they don't like these GMT Masters. They don't like any of those watches. They don't like those real bulky stuff. They study and they move according with the market. Smaller wrist size, elegant stuff. We're going to have an onyx dial. We're going to have a jasper dial. We're going to make a watch with jadeite. They study the cultural significance of these watches and they basically cater a certain type of, how could I say, or procure a certain type of stuff for dials. So at the end of the day, if we're talking about just gross, particular certain stuff like that, it's important to think about, where stuff is being sold at. How often are people able to necessarily, is the market vertical or is it integrated? Do we have partners or this, that, and the third? You have Richard Mille Americas, you have Richard Mille Europe, you have Richard Mille Asia. You have CEOs in different branches. They're able to get their, how can I say, allocation or distribution. And even still then, stuff is sold. Unless you have a contact within Richard Mille, you're not getting a Richard Mille. And honestly speaking, how do I put it this way? Which watch do I think is good from the RM collection? I'm going to have to say the RM6701 or 2. But the only caveat that I have with that is definitely the screws and the base plate. A lot of people, they don't like me speaking on certain things or, God, they think I just be talking or I'm just, not giving you facts or, I'm always going and saying stuff without much thought of input in the process, and I really think that's cap. By managing my expectations from, people, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not necessarily engaging with that, A lot of stuff, you can be civil, you disagree, you let it on to fight another day, and you move forward. And realistically, too, and we talk about, watches. I know people are talking about, wearing, I know the watch space, too, people getting fights talking about watches or, their watch collection costs more, price tag. Like, I watched Rick Ross. He loves AP. You say he loves Jacob. Honestly speaking, I don't think that Jacob and Co. makes good watches. And that's my personal opinion. I appreciate Jacob and Co.'s level of ingenuity in terms of what they're actually out here doing in terms of watches and watchmaking. But to go out here and say that they've gone out here and made masterpieces is anything far but the truth. took that car. Ah, bruh. Another thing I'm still thinking about in a traditional sense that we're talking about, too, I know fake watch buster and a lot of people are saying, organized crime has targeted people wearing watches to athletes and sponsors. And so it's not like that's true. Do these watches need to be priced at, $100,000? I'm going to say no. Everything is about making a profit. If someone can treat something that's ultra luxury, is it stuff practical? I would say a lot of stuff isn't practical, but I mean, it's just the nature of the game, nature of the beast. And you have so many people wearing, a particular watch from whoever. Like Jacob and Co., I'm going to be willing to say you lose 50% of your money when you buy something from Jacob and Co. Or more. I would probably say 60%, where I would probably never own a Jacob and Co. watch because I just don't like it. Well, let me settle back on that. I will say Jacob and Co. makes the okay Navigator watch. I like that one that he created. It was at a compass and a globe. That one's okay. I think it's a 47 millimeter, but outside of his other stuff, it's like his Astronomia. The Godfather watch is okay. I mean, I don't really think that's necessarily a good thing. It's supposed to be like a minute repeater that plays the Godfather theme song. He has Marlon Brando in the case. He does some other stuff. And then he has that little casino. Then he has that Ronaldo watch. Ronaldo does not even wear Jacob and Co. He wears whatever he wants to. And the thing about all these different watches that are enterprise and certain stuff, like the one watch that Ronaldo is oftentimes seen wearing is that how can I say that Frank Mueller the Century Curvex watch with baguette diamonds, about $1.3 million, or certain stuff like that. He's sporting that watch a lot when he's living in Saudi Arabia. I don't think people would necessarily mess with Ronaldo because everybody's necessarily a fan of Ronaldo. But even still, I would not necessarily feel comfortable wearing something like that. Particularly because it has diamonds as the chandelier setting. They have to match so many diamonds, but I think a lot of stuff is fabricated because there's no way that you're going to go out here and how can I put it this way? Have a parcel of diamonds. A lot of people fabricate. This took time. If you buy diamonds or you look at diamonds, you're getting the same or if not similar. You're having a gemologist go and scoop certain stuff with a sieve. And compare and match with the set D, E, and F, colorless diamonds, and you're going and looking for the impurities in the diamonds, natural, millimeter size, cut. You're using brilliant cuts, using what you call emerald cuts, whatever you're using, that's what you're going for, and you're going to go from there. My only problem then becomes, too, with the watches and certain stuff like that, if a buckle or certain stuff breaks, what's the insurance policy? What's the warranty what's the warranty? You're not going to be able to, how can I say, replace that Burmese ruby or whatever it is on the buckle, and that stuff gets broken. And two, where you wearing that at? And you're doing like a charity fundraiser or certain stuff like that, it might be acceptable for you to wear something like that. Where wealthy participants and go for a good cause or something like that, like muscular dystrophy or stuff like that, and they're just, doing only watch or something like that. That's a little bit more appropriate. But realistically, that's not for everybody. Everybody can't go out here and get a, you know, everybody can't go out here and get like, a potential exponential, how can I say, watch. Like, a piece of watch. And somebody is going to only be able to get a Timex, and they're going to be perfectly happy with Timex. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't think people should discredit necessarily Timex and what Timex has accomplished. But everything is about price point. Everything is about entry level. Every watch company has an entry level, and then how much people want to pay for something. Like AP Royal Oak Offshore 10 to 11 years ago was around $12,000. And today, like the market price for some of this stuff is around 18,000 or 18.8, and then most people sell this for around like 20. I think the reasonable thing, I want to say, I want to pay more than 19,750 for it. Because people are still making money. I'm not that greedy about money like that. Like, it's just, profit's a profit. Die. What time is it? 10:13. I'll possibly play like another game or whatnot and go from there. I'll probably have one more left and I'm going to go. I'm going to try to chill out. Maybe I might spend till 11 o'clock. I don't know. I don't like that drop, so I guess like the core of another thing that I'm going to talk about today too. Well, tonight is about like the enterprise of like social scenery. Like a lot of the stuff that people are actually out here doing, like from a business standpoint and everything that we have, is strictly, how do I put it this way? If we're talking about, a particular scene, like we have businesses out here, how can I put it this way, that exist strictly because there's a market for it. Like, how can I put it this way? You got a lot of breakfast and brunch places or mimosa places, and if anybody's doing that, they're going to try to come for that whole $60 to $70 how can I say price range. And once people come for that $60 to $70 price range, that's only, honestly, I can see why a lot of people are broke. I don't think broke necessarily as, that's discretionary income. That's money people are trying to spend to chase whatever it is that's just out here. Particularly, I don't really see the market for it. I just don't. Doesn't necessarily mean there's a market out there. There's not a market, but my honest opinion and rational mind, there's no way in a traditional sense that you could go out here and spend $70 and do that every weekend, not including gas. No, not even only that. If someone gets drunk or whatnot, they're not getting behind the wheel. At least I pray they're not getting behind the wheel. You're having people go out there and particularly do all this type of stuff where they're going out here and how do I say? They're going out here and they're buying all this different drinks, combinations, concoctions. Or, yeah, I was watching this other thing too. This lady had gone out with this man, got a brunch or something like that, and then was suggesting this place and had 16 oysters or whatnot. That's not an appropriate place for a first date. And it has nothing with, sexual reasons. It's just not, no. I feel like if you can't go to a palatable place, how do I feel about it? Like, $150 on a first date is a lot. Everything. Another thing I'm still thinking about too in traditional sense is like it's not necessarily about the food and the woman. What's the, but just the fact that places in Atlanta have become so convoluted. Like you got Keith Lee. Keith Lee is not a problem. The symptom of the problem is people, black people, we're going out here and spending all this money, which we don't have oftentimes, and we're getting these people rich. I don't really think that food should cost as much as it do. I understand people have to make a profit. Like, there's no reason a soda or a drink, a non-alcoholic beverage, should anywhere be close to $4.50. No way. And these are the times which we're living in. People are trying to make a profit on you. Or if you get something like a raspberry lemonade, you're getting a sort of type of, how can I say, a spritz or certain stuff like that. A different type of flavor. Or like, hell, let's say even an orange juice. This costs way too much money. I had no idea he was even on. Racks. But yeah, I definitely feel like, there's a lot of stuff that's just bad. Like, we got these places with crab boil, all the stuff fixings. This stuff is a pleasantry. There's no reason why this stuff should be around, anywhere between, let's say, $75, $50 to $75 if people getting drinks and certain stuff like that. You're already spending like $40. All this fixings, this type of special sauce, special mix. There's nothing special. That sauce doesn't cost any type of money. Let's start there. You add lemon. They're basically ripping you off. You having shrimp. You have to basically pay for it to be, how can I say, deveined, or what you call it, beheaded. Or you're having shrimp with the whiskers and certain stuff on it. That's just nasty. And then jumbo shrimp. That's nasty too. And all this type of remoulade sauce or whatever it is, and all this different crap up there, and making it sound all good. Got all these reels and people making this food look good. And, at the very helm of it, a lot of people not are even able to decipher that, hey, this is only, going to be a limited time frame. I want to be able to get this, because realistically, it is not about, how can I put it this way? About, if I spent $50 on this, am I get my money's worth? I'm not going to go and say that this person, a lot of people's food isn't good. They just rip people off. I'm just going to say, if you talk about inflation, there's no inflation on some shrimp that's coming from Poland. This is not coming from the Gulf. This is coming from Poland. This is coming from your local seafood market. This isn't coming from no type of thing. I understand there's a labor component factored into that and everything like that. But when we literally have gone out of a certain extent and realm, and we're entertaining all this different foolishness and madness, and no one necessarily even saying, not batting a word, or saying that, hey, this doesn't cost this, or I'm going and, again, like if someone wants to go and get a, how can I put it, shrimp boil, Yeah, if someone was to get a strip boil and everything like that, and it's going to cost them, how do I put it this way, around, let's say, I'm going to still say my base, $40 to $50. And at the time everything's said and done with the drinks, I'm going to say a tip included, it's around like $65 around the drinks. I wouldn't even bump it up to maybe 70 because then, tip factored in, and a lot of these places just ripping people off, and they're adding like some type of surcharge on certain stuff like that. Like, no. Like, literally everything about that is not necessarily palatable. Like, we shouldn't be comfortable going out here and spending dubious amount of money. The ambiance and certain stuff is fake. If stuff isn't pleasant, the servers aren't pleasant or anything like that. It's really a conundrum of issues and a plethora of things going on in the kitchen or otherwise going on. Like prep. If I'm having something that's so salty, my blood pressure is being elevated to like 160 over 120, that's just not good for that. And then two, if we think about the average, how can I say, metabolism of certain people, you might try to be hungry, and then you might have all this andouille sausage or certain stuff, part of this mix and batter and everything that we have really saying and going on about, the business world and otherwise, particularly with, how do I put it this way, I would say the pills that certain people have with the, how do I say, what was it? The boil, particularly, is going to be the certain stuff, the fixins, certain stuff like that. Like, you have corn, you have, what's that thing? The Creole seasoning. I know my dad has some of that. Where people basically put that, I know it's a captain something. I don't want to butcher their name, so I just go and say whatever it is from there. You basically go and you believe that, this is going to be worth some money. And oftentimes, what I'm finding out, what I already been knowing, and you want to control the salt, you just want to mitigate that expense, do your own boil, it's probably possibly better to do it at your house than to pay somebody some money on something that is not controlled. And the enterprise and everything that we have about it, surrounding it, is very, very minimal. And what I mean by that is very, very minimal. You can control the salt. You can never control the expense. You don't have to worry about trash service from the server or otherwise. And then think about the environment. If you're going out of the way, driving 30 minutes, oh, I saw this off TikTok. We're in the day and age where that's still happening. People give TikTok and certain stuff, what they see, as a true testament to what is good or whatnot. Oh, I saw this on TikTok. This is good. I have not necessarily ate at any TikTok places ever. And I have been completely honest with my review and my assessment of this food that I've been eating. If I say something is good, more than likely it is good. I'm going to say it's probably 97% good. I can't say it's 100% good, but I say it's 97% good because I really do not give good ratings. I really do not give good ratings. That's what people don't understand. Some people can have a stellar entree, but terrible sides. And we're talking about TikTok and everything about the enterprise of that. Like, you have Keith Lee's, you have Chime Times, you have all these different people. You keep up with the enterprise of people on TikTok. You have LA Try Guy. You have the Chinese guy that I like watching on YouTube. I forgot his name. But he definitely budgets and tries Costco chicken versus something. I think I might try to watch that guy, see what he's up to. But I definitely keep up with these guys. I feel like the Chinese guy, he's very smart with his money. And he says the chicken per pound, he tried Shaq's chicken place and he said it was bad. You know, a mega chicken or all this type of stuff. You know, honestly, I feel like criticism is good, but criticism, how can I put it? It has to be room for improvement. That's the one thing that a lot of stuff has to be, room for improvement. A lot of stuff I can truly say there's not a room for improvement because the places, if they keep going and continuing the way they're continuing, they're going to be out of business. Like we're talking about a particular place that I could saw coming that was going out of business, Hot and Juicy Crawfish in West Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. That place was absolutely garbage. And if you read some of the reviews and certain stuff like that, people would say, you know, you have a problem. You have a chain. Chain restaurants really have no control over whether or not the quality of something is bad. If you have someone willing to say they would drive from LA to Vegas or from San Diego, they came on a trip to go to LA, to go to what you call, and they would rather drive to Las Vegas for the brand of Hot and Juicy, and because they know how to treat people right, this, that, and the third. That has everything to do with what's wrong with the kitchen, the staff, the server, and the expectation was high, but somehow was set low. You know, I'm definitely a fan of definitely constructive criticism and improvement. A lot of people have to improve for the right reasons, not improve just because, you know, they hear wind of, you know, a Keith Lee. That's why I'm not necessarily fooled by all these food reviews they have people doing. Like, no, this is absolutely crazy. You can get on actual things. I kind of, how can I put it this way? I think Keith Lee, some of his reviews are, how can I say, they're okay, but a majority of them I feel like it's just cap. I just can't fathom. Like, you know, we've had so many food influencers and everything that we have out here, and we're seeing meteoric rise of internet personalities covering food. To me, there only needs to be a handful of people doing food. Like, we had 20 people doing food, let's say in a metropolitan or New York area. I don't know too many New York people that's actually out here doing food like that. Like, normally there's only a few people out here doing food. And that could be a lot of people. I want to say it could be a lot of people. A lot of people could be doing it, but it's not necessarily a market. Like, people have to understand their niche. If I'm out here going and delivering food, and I just review food from places that, you know, places I wouldn't otherwise eat at. Like, someone's doing delivery for DoorDash or Uber Eats, or how can I put it this way, or any major how I say food delivery service. You know, they might visit places, they might not even eat certain types of food, but my main component and certain stuff like that is, if you're going to eat food, why are you going to eat food and not necessarily expect certain stuff to be where it needs to be at? I played 2 games, Christian, man. 2 games. And I'm going to go to sleep.
Let's go! Joe Flacco won Comeback Player of the Year.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I'm not even going to watch it. I think the Chiefs are going to win it. I want the 49ers
I
to
hope
win
the
it.
Chiefs lose. Honestly speaking, I hope the Chiefs lose. And why do I think the Chiefs need to lose? Mahomes is good, but like literally, how can I put it? The only reason why the doggone Ravens lost the game was literally because of penalties. That's the only
Um,
reason why they lost the game, because of penalties.
yeah, it was penalties and we played like dog shit.
Zay Flowers, when he did that unsportsmanlike conduct, he cost the game.
Yeah, because we just ran it in.
He went and taunted that guy. He caught the ball. He shouldn't have done that. Unsportsmanlike conduct. They kept on getting 15-yard penalties.
Yeah, I'm so glad Joe Flacco won it and Damar Hamlin got robbed.
I thought DeMar Hamlin was going to be gone soon. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh no, they're after this year they're gonna release him. He's only on the roster. He brings in so much money for the Bills and jersey sales.
No, honestly, if he was smart in the traditional sense, I would even say medical waivers. He could use that, but if he's already made enough money and he was smart with his money and doesn't necessarily spend it, he could do something else, like maybe, like, how could I say, do something that's personal to him, making sure that people's electrolytes and certain stuff like that, or their cardiovascular health, or be a spokesperson. He could make money off that. It could be very touching for him, instead of, like, just going out there and playing football and potentially ending your life sooner than what it should be, by going out there and playing that game. Getting popped. Like, you think about a lot of people getting popped here recently. Like, Tua, they will never win. They will never win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Tua should be. He's one more concussion away from his career. His career should have been done last year. He's pushing it on like the edge of brain damage. He had 2 concussions last year. Really, like one really bad one. Yeah, but he's pushing on that. He's like right on the barrier of gonna be brain dead because of football. And I cannot. We're gonna die. Fuck! It's like a hot shot here. Fuck! I'm dead. I'm about to die. You don't even have to finish me, huh? Yeah, don't come right here.
I got your card.
What do you say?
I'm gonna get your card in a minute.
Pick that purple SMG up. Same thing. Okay. Lamar's already an MVP, Hall of Fame. Don't go. Just don't get him. Don't get him. All right. Oh, get that victory crown.
Let me ask you, you're using head and shoulders, right?
I want to get you at the other, because I don't want to know those guys. Right there.
What are you doing?
I'm not trying to die, so I'm gonna get you at the other reboot.
But you
And
don't
we're
get my
gonna try
card
to
yet.
get this thing together. The medallion.
But you never got my card yet.
Did I? Damn.
No.
I thought I did.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's so many whack awards, bro. They just need to get to the MVP. Like, they just need to.
I think the NBA is becoming terrible like the trade deadlines because I mean, you think about the Pistons, what they just did. The Pistons are terrible. The Knicks really got nothing in return, and the Knicks have been kind of mediocre talent. Like, if you think about the draft class or the recruiting
Yeah.
class, I mean, the only person you got that was good was like what? Who was it? Brunson,
Finish him,
Jalen
finish him.
Brunson, but literally doesn't necessarily mean that these people are going to be franchise players.
Oh, nice. I feel like the Wizards are a team that should have stole Bradley. They would be in a such better situation if they sold Bradley Beal and John Wall and put more into their prime. Like John Wall, they had John Wall, like, he was, like, towards the end of his prime. They should have really sold Bradley. I don't watch basketball that much, but I know they should have sold Bradley Beal and John Wall when they had the chance to. They got him for nothing. But it's just so dumb. The Bulls need to sell. The Bulls have horrible management.
Oh yeah, Zach LaVine wanted out, but I don't think he's even out. And then the doggone the Heat was stupid for getting Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier and Kyle Lowry, but the Hornets, they suck. Every team in Charlotte sucks. Every team in Charlotte Athletics sucks.
Yeah, Charlotte is. Michael Jordan sold the team because they're not going to get anywhere. I need AR.
There's no elite talent. I mean, Terry Rozier was okay. I mean, LaMelo Ball is old. I mean, he's okay, but he's not all that.
He's going to get sold soon. He's going to ask too much for them. He's not going to get what he wants.
Gordon Hayward is okay. I mean, he's not necessarily the best type of player because he's injury prone. And, I mean, he had to change his game. He can't dunk. The best Gordon Hayward I could think of was the Jazz version of Gordon Hayward, but since then he hasn't necessarily played that well. I mean, he's a glorified, solidified role player or a great locker room guy. But outside of that, I mean, he's paid his dues in basketball. But if you think about longevity, I think he still can play ball, but I don't think you're getting quality minutes from him. But that has everything to do with management.
What's it called? They just need to sell. The Charlotte Hornets need to sell LaMelo Ball while he's in his prime.
I don't think LaMelo Ball has everything he's able to be equipped with just yet.
I don't think he'll ever be that. He'll ever be his. What happened?
Wow.
What happened?
There was two people. I got a shotgun blast.
Where are you? Alright, I'll come get you. Lamar, come on, Lamar. Let's get the MVP, buddy. I swear to God, if somebody gets it other than Lamar, I'm gonna fucking sweat.
Honestly speaking, I feel like
Lamar deserves the lead.
Is good.
Yes and no.
Lamar deserves it kind of. But honestly speaking, Lamar has to have better blocking. I remember I was watching one of the games
before they
went against the 49ers, and he got
lost that game
Second half,
of the blocking.
He was doing good.
We lost that game because of the blocks. Lamar couldn't get a block to save his life. Oh, I'm about to sell. I'm literally about to sell. Bro, the boost is so bad, it doesn't even boost you forward. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Alright, I gotta go. The fuck? Let's go, Lamar. I'm about to fucking die, bro.
I have a quick question. What do you think about the Lakers right now?
They need to get rid of Braun. I don't really watch basketball that much to tell you.
Honestly speaking, I think LeBron, he can still play, but the enterprise of basketball and the Buss family, like, you have to understand, LeBron makes executive moves. He's not executive.
Yeah,
You have
he
a
shouldn't have
bunch
that much
of
power.
glorified role players. I'm gonna say bench warmers. You have basically have bench warmers or glorified role players. People might get a little few points here, few points
There's a
there.
med kit
Oh,
here.
we're
I'll go
getting
get
8
you. I'll go get you
points.
in there.
People are getting 8 points a game. Like, Caruso was never really that great of
All
a
right, let me
basketball
bed up
player.
and I'll go get you. I'm gonna go get you.
Caruso was never really a great basketball player and everything. With him,
Yeah.
more so, he wasn't
How
necessarily
is
able
Caruso?
to
He's a
get to
good
the
role
basket
player.
like
He's
that.
okay. He's not bad. He
He was a good
can be like
defender,
a
but
starting
he's
point
not
for
a
a team
good
that wants
like
to rebuild.
offensive initiator. Russell Westbrook was not he's not good anymore. I would love to say
What's it
Russell
called?
Westbrook's not good anymore.
He's a good rebuild for. He's like a good starting point for a team that wants to rebuild.
I'm going to say Russell Westbrook, he's not bad, but he's not giving you higher than 15 points a game at this stage of his career.
Yo, get out of the storm. We gotta go.
Russell
Come on.
Westbrook. Paul George is basically done.
Yeah, I feel bad for players like Westbrook and I just gotta get out. I can't. All right, let me get to this. I feel bad for players like Westbrook, Harden that are never gonna win a ring.
I mean, Harden's only good if he's running the offense. Honestly, I would say Harden's
I got
best
med
years are
kits, and
over
then
yet.
here I got you a med kit, and then
I
there's
would
some
say
shield there
Harden's
for you.
best years are over yet. But his glory, this heyday, he's only good where he's allowed to do whatever he wants to do. I can go out here, he was known as a traditional running gun. James Harden, if you say 10 years ago he was a point guard, no, that man was shooting guard. He was getting 40, 50 points. He definitely was not necessarily, in my opinion, how can I put it? If you're playing 40 minutes a game and you're literally dropping 50, like Luca was like, they said that he was like, he didn't work out for a long period of time. He was like 6'7" and 260, but he was literally dropping
Oh,
buckets
I'm
on
about to die.
people, and he got injured
I'm
and he
about to die.
gained
Yo,
weight. I
just
mean,
don't
there's
come
nothing
in
wrong
here.
with
Don't come in
that.
here. Don't come in here. Get out of here. Like, if you can't get out of here, just get out of here.
This guy really followed me in the actual storm, man. What in the actual hell?
I'm just gonna get out. Fuck, I'm gonna die anyway. I'm just gonna fight him. So I'm really gonna die anyway. Let me get back to lobby. Fuck. Bro, I'm gonna get off. I'm tired of shit. I might be on tomorrow.